I believe most of us really focus on outsiders. We focus on our environment. We look for other sources. We always look above, around us, for what already with us. The secret to getting what we want in life is to look to ourselves. We should focus mainly on ourselves, mainly on getting ourselves better, improving ourselves. We should try and outdo our yesterday. Like everyone, you're not in competition with anyone but yourself yesterday. You should try and become better today than you are yesterday. So the secret of getting whatever we want from life is to first find it within ourselves. Because the truth is, like, whatever you're looking for, whatever you're going to become, it's already inside you. Just like whatever you're looking for, first it has to be created as an idea. It starts as a seed inside you. So when you see this idea inside you, forming inside you, and from that idea, it's easy for that to flow and become visible to the outside world. Just like an architect would have a picture of a building in their head, and then they would go ahead and bring this to life by just, drawing, thinking, and this becomes a place for someone to live, someone to habit. So first, you form the idea in your subconscious, and then this flows through you and becomes visible for people to see. So for whatever you're seeking, whatever you think you a problem, an obstacle, a solution, first look on your inside. First look inside yourself. I promise you, you would always find whatever you're looking for inside yourself. Because the thing is, when you get better, your environment gets better. But the thing is, most of us will run too quickly to outsiders. First, we always ask people who probably have less knowledge than us in this same area. That's just because we don't want to get into a position where we constantly engage our brain to check and grade, engage our brain to research, engage our brain and our mind to look inward. Therefore, we end up spending so much time trying to pass the buck to someone else to do the thinking for us. So I say, if you always start off knowing that whatever it is, I'm going to first look on myself. I'm going to ask myself the why question. Why can't I fix it? Why is it like this? Why should it be like this? Why has it always been done like this? If you always start on that premise, I promise you, most time in life, you will be successful because you will be the thinking one and people will come to you rather than you going to people. And human being is not so different from a seed. Just like a seed, everything a seed needs to reach its full potential, it's already placed in that seed from the beginning. So all the seed needs to become a full-grown tree or plant is just a conducive environment. Because everything that makes a seed is already in the seed. That everything that makes you a human is already in you. You just need a conducive environment, somewhere to think, some people to hang around with, some people who think like you, books to read, engage your mind. Just like a seed only needs to be watered and put under the soil, that is exactly the same thing you need. Continuously watering yourself and preventing yourself from the weed taking over and parasite killing you. So exactly like a seed, that is how human is. A seed will never run to another seed for it to grow to its own potential. Because it knows from the start everything it needs to become a tree, to become a fruitful plant, is already in the seed. And human like that, we have everything we need in us from the beginning. So instead of seeking answers from other places, just seek conducive environment, an environment that would enhance you, an environment that will make you grow, an environment that would support you, because you are already everything you want, everything you're searching It's already in you. So I go again. I say, look to yourself. Always look to yourself for answers, for whatever. Look to yourself. Always be the starting point and the ending point. And even when people gives you advices, always take it and then review this to yourself. What do I want to take from this? What's useful to me? Not every rain that drops on a plant, the plant that absorbs, no, is gonna get drowned. It only takes what it needs and discards what it doesn't need. So when you get advice, when you get opinion, when you get observation from people, only choose that which is useful to you. Not everything that if you allow a donkey to keep eating, it's gonna eat till it dies. Exactly. Not because you've got like so many food in your fridge or freezer, you don't eat everything in the same day. The same way advice is. You only take what's useful to you, what's going to enhance your growth, what's going to support you. Is it a conducive environment? Do you see yourself prospering in that environment? These are the questions you should ask yourself. And just like a seed, every seed starts off with the potential of becoming a full grown tree or plant or whatever, with the complete nutrient in them that one day they will become, fully grown. But then not all seed gets to become a plant or tree. And this is down to their environment. Some seed are planted in good soil, fertile soil, and some seed are eaten by animal, insect, polluted area. Some seed are pulled out as weed. So that is human. We all have everything we need in us, but not every single human will end up becoming successful. Why? This is because of our environment, conducive environment, and what we do with our mind. Do we look to our mind? Do we focus our thinking? Do we put ourselves in auto to keep thinking? So this is what happens. Some people will get to their full potential, and some wouldn't, just because what they've chosen to. Some people have chosen to work on themselves and grow, and some have chosen or have given the power to the environment to be determined. Some people's place in the world will be determined by the people around them, the environment, and other people's opinion. So just like a seed, the only thing that determines if a seed is going to reach its full potential is how it chooses to use its environment. So is it that you use your environment to work for you, or it works against you? In that same vein, human beings are the same. Is it that you choose to use your environment to motivate you, to break out your environment, to help you become better, or your environment can overtake you, can control you? A seed that is buried under the soil and watered has more potential to reach, has more opportunity to reach its full potential compared to a seed that's just been left on the concrete to be dried out by the sun. But even the seed that has been left on the concrete to be dried out on the sun still had some potential. It might be lucky, the wind blew it onto the soil, the rain came, and before you know, that seed, it's germinating, it's growing. So sometimes we are limiting ourselves based on we're running too quick to other people, running too quick to our environment, we're blaming more people rather than focusing on ourselves, because we are the sole center of ourselves. Whatever we end up, wherever we go, whatever we do, it's 100% on us. No one, I repeat, no one is responsible for whatever you become but yourself. So why there would you run to another person and place the responsibility on that person for you not becoming what you meant to become, for you not doing what you meant to do, for you not saying what you meant to say, or for you saying what you're not meant to say? Why would you place your God-given soul, God-given potential, God-given ability to choose? They say the only thing that differentiates human from animal is the ability to choose, the ability of choice. Why would you give that to someone else? That's the reason I'm saying always look into yourself. Make the first decision and the last decision for yourself. Let it be on your own terms, because you are responsible for yourself. Whatever you become, whatever you fail to become, is down to you. You cannot blame someone else for giving you a wrong advice. It is optional. You had the choice of taking that advice or not. The buck stops with you. So look to yourself. Make the decision for yourself. Never allow your environment or anyone else to pull you. Of course, you need resources sometimes, but be very resourceful. Only take what's needed for you to get to your full potential. Another thing, why human is better than seed, because the good Lord made it possible for the seed to grow, just a seed, a grass. The good Lord made it possible for them to reach their full potential. Even without the seed and animal, they haven't got the option of choosing, the option of vision. They haven't got that, and still they can reach their full potential. How come? Talk less of you, who God is giving the freedom to choose. Most animals and plants, their destiny are based, or their full potential are based on choice made by someone else for them. So if you are now giving back the freedom, the single freedom that separates you from an animal, you're not giving that to another person to make the decision for you. What do you think you are? If you are separated from an animal based on the freedom to choose, and you have given that same freedom, the only freedom that separates you from an animal, you've given it to another person to make choices for you. What do you think you are? Everything you need to become, everything you need to get to where you need to be, the good Lord has given it to you. The good Lord has given it to you. The environment, your environment might not be the best environment, might be the worst place in this world, but there's a potential there. There's an opportunity there. There's someone that's made it out of there. The good Lord has put you there for a reason. Plus, it's always made it possible. It's giving you the freedom to pick and choose, to move, to live in environment for yourself. When you start looking at other people for what you're going to become in life, I'll tell you, you've become like a seed, which depends on a squirrel. Maybe a squirrel eats the seed, and then it defecates, and then the seed can grow and still become, a plant. Or maybe it doesn't. Maybe you've become like a seed that it's up to the wind, like a pollen. It's up to the wind to carry you and dump you where it wants. You've got the potential of becoming a tree or not. So the minute you start allowing other people to make decisions for you, other people to call, to your environment to overtake you, you have given away what has made you human. You've gone back to the state of animal, dependent, living on instinct rather than choice and freedom. As human, we have to consistently acknowledge and realize our thoughts as a goal, and then persistently walk towards it. That's what separates us from animal. Persistently walk towards it. And this goes back to you, 100% on you. And this cannot be done anywhere else except inside of you, within you, for yourself. So this is the first battle you always start, and the last battle. For if you win this battle in your head, you win the battle outside. When you become good outside, it becomes visible outside for other people to see. But first, it must become you. You cannot give what you don't have. Other people cannot see what you haven't become. So a lot of people are trying to become on the outside before they become on the inside. They're trying to allow the outside to influence their inside. And now they wonder why they have remained the same place. Before you see a seed, turn into a stem, and then trying to pop out or break the ground, it has won the battle on the ground of not being drowned by rain, of surviving being eaten by worms and termites and whatever. It has gone through a lot of battle before you actually see that little green shoot popping out of the soil. because the soil is a leveler, the soil is the balance. For there is a lot of battle underneath the soil, and then when you break through the ground, that is just the beginning. And just like human as well, we go through this process, regardless of where you're born, regardless of your skin color, regardless of your educational background. Every fight you fight is forced within you. When you win the fight in your head, when you win the fight in your mind, then you can overcome your environment. Then you can overcome that which people have condemned you to be. When you've learned how to fight, then, because first you have to win the battle inside you. If you're always running for asking, seeking answers from every other person, you can never win the fight. Therefore, you can never break the ground, because that ground is the leveler, is the balance. And how do you do this? You do this by setting up an idea, thinking, driving a dream, having a goal, and acting upon this. By acting upon this idea, that's what produces the harvest that, is going to exalt you, you're going to be celebrated for, and it's going to become visible for other people to see. But everything starts within you, in your head, in your mind. That is why they say what you accept as truth inside, we are likely to act on the outside. Because what you accept as truth becomes your truth, regardless of if it's truly truth or not. And that's why James Allen says, as a man thinketh in his heart, subconsciously, that is subconscious mind, so he is. Because you become what you think about. And then the Holy Book says, God must walk through our intelligence. God will do anything for us that he can do through us. But he cannot do anything from the outside. God works through our intelligence. God works through us, right in our mind, right in our center, because we are focused on everything. There's a lineage, there's a stream there for everyone. God will not get someone else glory or whatever to work on you, because you have that same potential, that same reach as the next person. Everything you need to become success is already on the inside of you. All you have to do is just look on the inside. Look on yourself. I know most people are running too quickly or ignoring the inside, because, of course, they say thinking is the most difficult thing to do. Therefore, a lot of people have ignored thinking. They've refused to think. They run quickly for help outside. You know what I'm saying? And when you keep running from place to place, from people to people, seeking opinions, seeking solutions, you know what you get from the outside? A lot of rejections, a lot of frustrations, a lot of disappointment. Why? Because you have refused to focus in the single place, the single source where the answer is, right inside yourself. You are your content. You are your content. What you are outside where you are inside. Every transparent bottle displays its content to the outside world. An orange drink is expressed as a yellow bottle, while watermelon drink is expressed as red. To change what's expressed on the outside, you have to change what's on the inside, the content. You cannot put a green liquid in a bottle and want to see red on the outside. No, you would express your inside to the outside world. And once you refuse to think, or once you refuse to run to yourself, therefore you would always run to others, and therefore they will see you as that person who's always running to others. And then you get a lot of rejection, a lot of frustration, a lot of disappointment. And then you know, that's when people say, oh, the Lord is not answering my prayer, this is not working, that's not working. Why? Because you have simply refused to focus where the answer is. To change what you put out to the world, you must first change what you think about on the inside. It's easier to bring change to the world than to expect change from the world. to reach your potential. All that all that we human on earth can become is that which we have allowed to flow through us, that which we have allowed to take control over us, that which we have allowed to get into our mind. That's why you will see a 7 foot person, a 6 foot person being dying from heartbreak, because that which you've allowed to penetrate you can harm you. And that's why we human, that's why we human on earth, whatever you allow inside of your mind, that's what's going to destroy you, or that's what's going to make you. So be a good gatekeeper. Only allow that which will help you prosper, which will help you reach your full potential, which would help you grow. Only allow that. Don't allow rubbish. We human, we are content. We are content. Just like, I'm sure you've gone to like a birthday party or something, and a lot of people drinking from a red plastic cup these days, and disposable red plastic cup. You see, that thing is like we human. A red plastic cup, just an ordinary plastic cup, they could contain a disposable, water, juice, tonic water, or they could contain the most expensive spirit or wine in this world. But they are basic, simple, disposable cup. So it's the content that distinguish the difference. Just like a wine bottle. The same wine bottle, there could be two wine bottles exactly the same. One might be 400 years old and one might be a day old. But it's the content that counts in the wine bottle. Of course, the 400 years old wine is aged longer, therefore the content is more expensive compared to the same wine bottle that contains a wine of yesterday. So regardless of how big we are, how small we are, how tall, how skinny, how intelligent we are, it's what we do with what we've got in our head that counts. The content that counts. As human, we only focus on that which holds our attention, and this is what we express. And by doing this, the problem is we tend to believe in the power above us, instead of the power within us. We always tend to, for instance, you see when people pray, they always look up to the sky. We always have that focus that there is a power outside of us to tap into. There's a power above us to tap into. Or we forget that this power is within us. This power is already within us. Just like, for instance, in the Bible, when Jesus was doing his miracle, he always looked into himself, because the power is already within you. Just like any other thing, the power is within you. Just like a towing truck. For a towing truck to pull another truck, it doesn't look for another truck for power, because the power is already in the engine to pull. So the power of whatever you're running around seeking is already inside you. So always start to look within first. Let that be your starting environment, because if you don't control your environment controls you. And that's what they say, you cannot control what controls you. Ralph Waldo Emerson says, do the thing and you shall find that you have the power. You have the power. So by looking inside you, by focusing, by thinking, you would realize that whatever you have been seeking, it's already inside you. For most of us, we do not need motivation. We only need to do, and then motivation kicks in. We change the result by changing the course of action. Like if you don't get up in bed to go to work, you probably not get paid. So you don't need motivation to get up out of bed. You just get out of bed because you have to do it. When you get up and start doing it, then motivation comes for you to do even more. But first, you don't wait for motivation to do it. You do, and the motivation comes. But a lot of us tend to always wait for motivation to start anything. And then while we worry, while we're still in the same place year after year. So that's what I'm saying. Our greatest battle today is with ourselves, not what's around us. For everything you want outside is already inside you. The way to overcome problems lies with the way you see the problem. First in our mind, the way we see the problem first in our mind depends on how we tackle that problem and how we expresses the solution to it. And the way we see a problem, why is that? Is because the way we think. If you're a thinking problem person, you always see problem as challenges, opportunities. But if you're someone who always anxious, running, and you always see problem as end of the world. So the way you think gives you a view on how you see things. That's why you have two people standing in the same place, seeing two different things, but having a different reaction to the same thing, the same event. They say you cannot give what you don't have. Therefore, whatever you're trying to attract from the outside world, first you must find it within yourself. You can't buy anything from the world without having something to give in place of it. That would call stealing. That would be stealing. Go to the market and say, oh, I want to have that steak or beef or whatever or vegetable for free. That would be classed as stealing. Therefore, the same thing applies to us. For whatever you want from the world, you have to have something in return to give. And this is where most of us fall short, because we want to receive without giving. We want to improve without investing. We want to grow without thinking. We want to become without having a vision and dream. For everything in the world today, or most things in the world today, man-made thing, they have started off as an idea in someone's mind. So someone has to dive deep inside your mind and bring these thoughts to life, visible, where we all can enjoy and utilize it. And that's by someone's taking a second asking themselves, why must this be done this way? Why can't it be done different? What's the need for this? Why is there no this? I want this. Why can't I have this? That is the question. Always looking to yourself first. And many of us always run around looking for, completed object in the world to fix our problem, without realizing that that object in the world was once inside someone's head's mind before they were brought to life. And we might have exactly the same thing inside our mind, waiting to be put to use to the world for everyone to use. But because we've refused to think, because we refuse to question ourselves, therefore we've lost the opportunity of making a contribution to the world. Everything you see in this world today, whatever it may be, it's a simple extension of someone's idea in your mind, brought to life. We as a human, every human has these two choices in life. You either become the victim of your environment, or you become the master of your environment. So the choice is up to you. Two people could come from the worst area or worst neighborhood in the world. One will use that to motivate themselves, and while one will complain and explain about where they started off. Two people, but with two different results. Why? That's because there is a greater power in self-reliance. Meaning one has mainly looked to themselves to change the environment, while the other has looked onto the environment to change themselves. Because when you look to yourself, if help comes from the outside, it's welcome. It's an added bonus. It pushes you further. But first, you have been looking to yourself, so you don't rely on the outside help. If it comes, it comes. But if it doesn't come, you will be fine. So I'm ending with this today. Primarily look to yourself. Primarily say, I am responsible for my future, and no other person. I hold myself responsible for how I turn out, good or bad. I will take all the steps I need to reach my goal, my full potential, so I can help other people who are yet to come after me reach their full potential as well. I am going forth so I could keep away a narrow way, a passage for people who come before me to follow, to make it easier for them. Always remember, everything about me stops with me. No other person, winning or losing, everything is on me. Self-reliance, counting on yourself. Because here's the truth. The moment you start relying on yourself, the moment you start looking inward, the moment you start depending on yourself and not on the environment, you find it difficult to complain and explain. Because who are you complaining and explaining to? Because you know you are so responsible. You are responsible for everything. Therefore, there's no point of complaining and explaining. They say when you start explaining, you've already lost the battle. So you know you constantly in a persistent fight. So what's the point of complaining and explaining? So that's why they say the minute you try this, the minute you start looking to yourself for answers, you forget about complaining. You forget about explanation. You just look for the answers. Because who would you take your complaint and explanation to? Who would you be giving explanation why you failed or why you failed to succeed? Your challenges, your excuses. Because you have made yourself the boss of your own life. That is the thing. You've made yourself the boss of your own life. You have taken the God-given choice into your hand. You've taken charge. That's what it is. That's what bosses do. The buck stops with you. There's no one. You look not above you, not below you, not around you, but inside you. So I say, when you start looking to self inside, then your outside will start changing.